And commissioners, the meeting is live.
Okay. I call this August 12th meeting of the Raleigh County Commission to order. Please everybody join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Hopefully everybody enjoyed the nice fall weather.
Not used to turning the air conditioner off in August.
I'm not used to having the windows open
Yeah.
and waking up in the morning to this, but it's not gonna stick around, obviously, so we enjoyed it while it lasts, so it is what it is. Soon we'll have less than 3 weeks of football season, so I can't be happier, so. Okay, we'll start off with some public comment. Looks like we've got public comment, so.
Good morning, commissioners. My name is Gary Oles. I live at 3308 Frontier Circle. I guess the first thing I would ask is, can we eventually get to 5 minutes instead of 3 minutes?
3 works pretty well.
Come on, I'm the only person that hardly ever shows up and I get 3 minutes. I would also encourage you, as I have this Manhattan City Commission, and I think they've adopted that, not at my suggestion, but you know, anytime you have a citizen in here who would like to make a comment on any item in the agenda, it would be appropriate to see if anybody's got public comment with regards to that, but you can chew on that, as I think I've suggested that before. But my main reason for coming here today is to say thank you. In all sincerity, what you did is laudable, I think is the right word. It's very good. At least from the taxpayer standpoint, it's very good. The challenge would be, how do you create a practice or a policy that basically helps to contain cost? Because that's what's eating us alive. And none of the taxing entities can continue on that path of ever increasing property taxes. Because that's going to make Manhattan a very different community, if it's not already a different community, in the context of there's only a certain class of people that will be able to live here. And I don't think that's the desire of anybody. Unless you open up the county for more county residents, which that doesn't appear to be something that's on the plate, because small towns like to be small and rural folk like to, what's that expression? Fences make good neighbors or something like that from long ago. But I am, in all sincerity, I would ask you, as you go through this coming year and you start on the 2026 budget, to find ways to contain cost, and biggest cost is personnel. I've suggested to governing bodies that they figure out a way to freeze salaries. And I don't mean the low end of salaries, I mean the upper end. I'm not saying that people aren't worth that, but at some point, it's just not affordable. And that's a tough decision, and you all may not even be the ones that have to make that tough decision. Being elected for re-elected for your term, but we're talking, 5, 10, 15 years, long when Rich is playing with his great grandkids, and
Sooner than that.
and I think it's just important that you don't make the mistakes that what I would consider the city commission made. You can't pay a man or a woman what you paid Ron Fear for as long as you did, and when he left, it was $192,000. And then you bring in somebody with significantly less experience, and you pay them $100,000 more than what they were making. So I encourage you, find a way to contain costs, particularly the cost of RCPD, which is a whole nother subject. Thank you. I'd like that kinder, gentler timer there.
I'll see if I can make it an air horn.
If I may point out on RCPD, we'll have some law board appointments to make, and we need some good citizens to apply for those positions. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah. Congratulations.
It's my on Wikipedia. It's unelected.
Okay.
Good thing it's not an elected position.
Good morning, Commissioners. John Ellerman, Public Works. Just a reminder that today we start our project on West 69th Avenue. From Anderson Road, I'm lost. North of Anderson Road. Anderson Road to North 48th Street. Started today, and hopefully we'd be done by Friday.
Kind of had a rough weekend, judging by the tide there.
We split.
This is true.
Better than not.
Both might make the playoffs this year.
I'm not looking that far ahead. I'm just looking to stay above 500 right now.
Fair enough. We have any more public comments? No? Yeah, okay.
I'd like to ask the board to add an executive session to my administrative time, please.
I move we add an executive session to last homeless time.
I would second that.
They moved and seconded to add an executive session to Clancy Holman's administrative work session time. All in favor?
Thank you, Commissioner.
Anything else? Yeah, seeing none, we'll close off public comment for this morning and move on to commissioner comments and Commissioner McKinley.
All right, well. Friday evening, we went to the ranch rodeo up in Leonardville. If you haven't been to that, you need to go sometime. It's very entertaining. Those guys are. It's fun to watch and they have some kids events. I don't know what they call it, but they release a bunch of calves with some of the tie on their tail. And the kids, if you catch the thing, catch the tail, they get a prize. So it's and there's a ton of people there. It's a fun event. Saturday morning, I watched the gold medal game for the women's soccer between the United States and Brazil. The US won 1-0. It was an exciting game. Yes, I'm one of those that actually watch soccer. I had two daughters that played, including one that was all state her senior year. And that gets your attention.
Yeah.
Helps you learn the game.
We'll say on that account, I've watched 4 soccer matches in my life, and 3 of them were women's finals, either in the World Cup or the Olympics. So,
yeah. And it is hard to watch on TV because you can't see. It's a lot better in person when you can see the whole field. And then Saturday afternoon, I was at the museum. The Arts and Humanities Association of Manhattan, also known as AHA, donated a picnic table in honor of Cheryl Collins. It came in a pallet of parts. And the Historical Society sent out the word that they needed help, so went over there and helped. There's a couple other guys there. Put it all together and carried it over. It's over under a tree back behind the Goodenow house. And then after that went over, poked around outside the fence of the EMS headquarters just to see the progress on the construction. It's coming right along. And that's all I've got.
Well, I don't have a whole lot. Thursday afternoon, I spent some extra time here in the office, knowing I'd be out for several days. Friday, I had two medical checkup procedures done at the surgical center, so that kind of messed up my weekend, but Saturday, I did get some work done around the house and in the yard, and weekend was pretty low key. Sunday, I spent several hours going through today's agenda and documents and scheduled upcoming meetings and events in my calendar for the month. So there's a lot coming up in September. It seems like everybody's scheduling things for September. It just kind of runs in to each other. So anyway, that's all.
yeah, I feel you on September. It's starting to happen for October too.
October too.
It is what it is. Thursday afternoon, I had lunch with Brian Fumuller from McCown Gordon, excuse me, catch up on some progress and development here in the region. Had a really good discussion on several items and certainly appreciated his time. Also Thursday, I attended the Flint Hills Volunteer Center annual dinner and banquet out at Paltroff Hall. Very well attended event. It was packed house. Gave away some awards, had a little trivia. It was a really good event. Hy-Vee catered meal, and Hy-Vee does a pretty good job. Really do. It's really good. It's amazing to know that we have over 300 think it's 312 officially dedicated volunteers currently serving the entire community as a whole, well, ranging in age, of course, but yeah, we've had some of them that have been there for as long as 40 years. So pretty cool when you think about it. Friday afternoon, we had our monthly pre-law board meeting at the Law Enforcement Center. Speaking of RCPD, went through the agenda items we'll be discussing for the August 19th meeting. Nothing too chaotic or out of the ordinary. I think September and October we hit the road, so this will be the last one at City Hall for a while. We also discussed several personnel issues after that have become pertinent as well. Of course, that meeting takes place at City Hall on the 19th at noon. Otherwise, the weekend for me was pretty quiet, went by rather fast. Did watch the Jaguars beat the Chiefs Saturday. I know it's just preseason. I know it's preseason and nobody's starters were playing, but still preseason and, you know, I'm still gonna count it for now. Cause it's all I've got. It's all I've got. Anyway, I do watch some other preseason football too. It's just good to starting to feel like fall. So anyway, that's all I got.
Okay, commissioners, no business items. Does anyone have any changes to the minutes?
I didn't have anything.
Okay, then I would make a motion to approve the minutes as written in the August 8th, 2024 Board of Raleigh County Commissioners.
Second,
Been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from the August 8th meeting of the Riley County Commission is written. All in favor?
Aye.
Tentative attendance, for commissioners,
Pretty tentative.
canvas coming up.
Mhm.
Any items for next week's press conference? Okay, next time up at 9 o'clock on your date budget expenditure reports. Oh, it's-
Yeah, you know, it's the county when we're having a bid opening for a tractor.
Michael.
Hey, John. Caleb was short by 20.
I think it was 28, I think. Then again, I don't know what else has come through provisionals or what else came through last week, so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
And mail-in ballots were accepted if they were post dated Tuesday all the way through Friday at noon.
Do they open them at the campus?
Afterwards.
Yeah.
We check all the information on there to make sure we count them. And then they actually get counted.
Yeah, I think I went to one of the campuses. It's a little different. I think they, the first year of the machines, like,
Oh, that's,
they just stick it in there. And then, I don't remember.
well, last year was, last year was the first year we used the new machines.
Yeah, no, I think it was the first time you used machines.
Oh, okay, that's going back a ways then.
Well, the canvas isn't necessarily a hot story to come to.
No, not unless it's a contested race, then it becomes that way, and that does happen.
I think Erie County has one race that's being audited, whatever that means.
That means, I don't know what the percentages of those are. It has to be within a certain range. It's like 2% margin of error or something, and then.
Which is different from a canvas or something.
Correct. It has to be done before you canvass. Well, it starts here and then it goes to the state and the state certifies
Sorry,
it.
not a canvas, a recount. There's a audit, a recount.
Right. Audit,
It's different.
yeah. Recounts usually will be,
Margins.
yeah, and it's usually, that's done by a candidate, and it's the candidate's responsibility to take care of it. If
But
they
the
ask for it.
audit is done by the clerk.
Correct.
When does Clancy officially start?
End of the year.
I see Kurt's last days.
Yeah, yeah.
Is he assistant director? That is official.
Yep.
So they gotta fill that slot.
Yeah.
Do they have just one assistant director or like an associate director?
No, I just have the one, and then they've got captain of administration. Kind of fills some of that admin duty there, and then, you know, the basic rest of the structure. Well, probably what will happen is they'll probably pick from one of those. And then they'll have to fill one of those, and eventually it just kind of works its way down, and then,
Of the captain?
yeah, yeah. That's what I'm guessing. I don't know that officially.
I'm not the same. I was surprised, but I wasn't.
When are they projected to finish the EMS building 2026?
No, that's supposed to be done probably late May, early June next year. They're really going to town on it, yeah. And technically, that's a two-phase project too. We'll be remodeling the old building as well.
Simultaneously?
No,
It's after.
right. EMS will move out of that building, and then we'll
What's
move
the
into,
old
it's
one going to be?
gonna be emergency management and rural fire.
And where is emergency management now?
Mhm.
Where are they now? They're,
Upstairs.
yeah.
It's amazing. It's a lot of animal. To not have to be in the woods.
I got the last two in there. Perfect. Yeah, very exciting.
Yeah, probably. So I. We would. Dad is.
Oh.
Most times. I think some of those are business. So, they just like yourself. It's. All your people, probably your just gonna. Yeah. People it's.
There it is.
Have you seen them?
Yeah, not bad for my age.
I say that a lot too.
Me too, you know.
I remember when I was your age.
Yeah, I don't know that I can anymore.
I don't.
Barely.
Must be nice.
I remember it being a lot more fun than it probably was, actually. That's what I mean. If you're in it, it's different.
Ouch.
Clancy, where did you grow up?
Butler County, small non-income producing farms. But it wasn't intended.
By design, right?
Well, my dad was a farm kid. He'd plow for recreation, you know,
What was the closest town?
probably Towanda, I imagine, but we never went there. You went to the big city, you went to Augusta, or you went to Wichita.
Yeah.
Best car commercial I ever saw was involved Augusta and Wichita. It was a great commercial back in the '60s, and it claimed that an Augusta dealership, used car dealership, was only 5 minutes from Wichita. But then they would do a crawl beneath it that you could just almost read that said, if you're traveling down Kellogg at 250 miles an hour. I always like that. That was fun. We didn't, our nearest neighbor was probably a mile away.
You were in private practice?
Only briefly. My dad was in private practice for many years in the '60s. He traveled all over the state.
Did you
Never.
I don't know where you went.
No, I don't. Both law schools are good. I went to Washington. I'm not an acolyte of either school.
Yeah, well, my brother's a lawyer and he told me long ago, and you probably won't agree with this, but a lawyer doesn't really know anything. But he knows where to look it up, and that's really important.
It can be. I've also heard of people not paying their fee because in a criminal case, even though they got a really good result, because all you did was look in a book. Yeah, that's all I did.
And there is a reason historically that they call in medicine and law practices. I'm not exactly sure why.
The
Also,
latter scares me worse than.
Yeah.
They'll
Yeah.
eventually get it right, but they keep practicing.
yeah, also learned profession. Some of the others make.
I'll see you tomorrow. I'll be there by 8.
You gotta give it back.
I did notice
You gotta give it back.
Canvas isn't on the August 19th agenda.
She's cute.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thought on the minutes.
I'm not seeing it on mine.
This Thursday, isn't it?
Was it this Thursday? I thought it was on Monday.
You said that the 12th?
Right.
Yeah, it's Thursday.
Oh, okay. My bad. Kind
Hey, that's
of.
how I go about law. So,
Yeah.
Sometimes that's how.
yeah.
Oh, okay. I see. I see.
Hey, Rich. Ran into an interesting discovery in Junction City. Another notice of R&R and budget hearings. That document under debt service had no mill levy assigned to it. And so I went to the city commission, the commissioner, or the interim director, or interim manager first, and I said, you can't do this. You can't take $10 million and expect to pay it out of sales tax for debt service. Something's wrong. So the finance guy was there and he goes, it's a computer. Evidently you go to the state website and put it in, and that's what he said. And it was off a line or something, like wrong formula or stuff like that. So it's like, so I went to the commission meeting, trying to be polite. You know, your job as commissioner should look this form over with to see that it's not right. They also failed to subtract the TIF from the assessed value. Which says on the document, right, the TIF from the assessed.
The first one was probably what I commented referred to as loosen up behind a keyboard error.
Yeah, well, the finance director is brand new, so you got to
It is confusing.
kind of go with the flow.
Yeah, they lost their finance manager and city manager, but basically at the same time.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard that. Lots of pretty going through lots of changes.
Mhm.
Institutional knowledge is. a lot.
That's pretty suspicious when their mill levy in the general fund went up by 10 mils. Wait. Shifting it from debt service to, wait, that's a mistake.
But that's
I
part of
thought you were
that.
bragging until they didn't have any debt. So they just weren't gonna pay it.
That's one way to get out of it, I guess. You're not gonna pay it.
Well, they're very experienced at that.
Ours is very low, but we do have some, but it is very low.
Our problem is we can't control who pays taxes and who doesn't.
What's that?
We can't control who pays taxes and who doesn't. Because what is it, 40% of assessed value is taxes and. So,
Probably over-
Was it 42?
Over that here.
Closer to 42.
and growing, I'm sure.
Well, and that's undervalued. If they can value K-State's buildings.
That's exactly what I was gonna point out. It's probably
a lot more.
Yeah, yeah.
well north of 50% if K-State's value was accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fort Riley's value is not accurate either.
No.
It's what they tell you it is.
Definitely.
Well, speaking of dollars and cents.
Ready, commissioners?
Yeah.
Good morning, Rich Barker, Raleigh County Clerk. First report of commissioners is 2024 year-to-date wages and overtime compared to budget report. You can see in the upper right-hand corner, we're at 58.33 point in time of the year. These are the respective departments, those highlighted in the red on the right are those that have exceeded that or above that at this point. Once again, it's just a snapshot at this point, commissioners, everyone looks to be doing pretty well so far. I always like to look at the center column, overtime. As you can tell, EMS ambulance always grabs everyone's attention, but that is because the overwhelming majority of that is budgeted just due to the nature of their business, 24/7, 365. Overall and overtime, we're just at 3.32%. The other districts that are a little high in overtime, the fire district, of course, they're going through the fire season, that's typical. Everyone else is looking pretty good at this point in time until we start getting into, you never know what winter's gonna throw at us, and then you can see solid waste and public works do it many times obnoxiously. But everyone's looking good right now. Any questions on that first page, first report? Next report is just a little bit more detailed breakdown of those figures per department. On regular salary, seasonal and overtime. Let's see where each are being spent. Any questions on those? Next report's 2024 year-to-date budget activity. Well, once again, compared to that 58.3%, those highlighted in the blue are those that are above that at this point in time. Of course, everyone on this first page is in the county general budget overall, so don't be if the entire budget was over at this point. Got emergency management, corner, budget appropriation, insurance, public works. 3 of those 4 cyclical based on just when you get those expenditures in. Of course, insurance goes up when we add facilities and increase values, so that's attributed to a lot of that. Everything should be fine by the end of the year. Always like to point out the county general, the one just above the public works highlighted in blue, atypically low at 11.76%. Of course, remember we have the 4 million in budget stabilization in there, so that should be atypically low. We'd like it to be that way. Any questions on that first page? Next page, once again, those highlighted in the blue, health department is barely over. That little box there is everything related to community corrections and juvenile intake. You can see a few of those are highlighted in blue, and those are items that Brittany and Jesse will work on closely with to see if we need to do budget amendments at the end of the year. RCPD operations, of course, we've had full appropriations paid out, so should balance out by the end of the year. Although, well, as you know, inmate medical is the one there that could cause us to go over, so we will be keeping an eye on that. Look at that in a little more detail here shortly. Fire district's just a little bit over at 60.54%, but of course, typically they have already had their busiest season, so should balance out by the end of the year. Any questions on that, commissioners? Next report, next page is all enterprise funds. No ad valorem taxes are used in these funds. It's all benefit districts and special assessments and fees for these. Everyone's looking good at this point in time. Any questions on those? This little snapshot, July to July and also year to date through July 23 to 24 comparison by department. Not always an apples to apples comparison, but it just gives you a snapshot comparatively to see where departments are from one year to the next. Any questions on any of those reports, commissioners? A lot of numbers. Next, a little bit more detailed breakdown of that county general I referred to earlier. $4 million in budget stabilization. Also personnel figures in there. It's just for separation of service pay. No one has paid out their regular salary. Sitting okay on that right now. Any questions on that, commissioners? Next is 2024 RCPD expenses paid by Riley County. Other than appropriations, commissioners, Riley County is 100% responsible for all inmate medical services and also all facilities costs. This will give you a breakdown here of what we spent. I like this next report a little bit better to compare 2020 through 2024, where we're sitting. As you can see, we're sitting rather high right now at physician. And so that is the one that could cause us some headache at the end of your possible budget amendment for the RCPD fund. Building maintenance is looking pretty good right now. There's large building maintenance things coming up, John.
Playing.
Yeah, yeah, it's key. Sometimes those unplanned things get very expensive very quickly with building maintenance, so. We keep an eye on that. We know it's close, just due to inmate medical, high ADP right now. As you've heard the report on jail, number of, female inmates, we're even having to pay for housing offsite, so. We'll see how it goes. Any questions on that, commissioners?
I didn't. And I had never noticed before. That the office space rental, which I know that's for the Aggieville station. Why is that ours and not part of everything?
We're responsible statutorily for all facilities costs.
Oh, yeah, oh, okay, that's what I.
Yeah, that's what I
Could have
can't.
known that, yeah.
That's what I can't say enough to people and the taxpayers is, they talk about the 80-20 split with the county, the city pays 80%, we pay 20% of the appropriations, but we pay 100% of all facilities and 100% of all inmate medical. That means the insurance on the facilities, all ours. Good question. Any other questions?
Might be worthy to note though too, is the individual in which we're renting from is,
Oh, I know, he gives.
yeah, has been really great to work with, yeah, so.
Yeah.
It could be a lot more expensive.
Yeah,
It's been the same landlord
Yeah.
since, as Gary was saying, I've been here a long time, since. the
Vintage.
beginning Of that time, and he has been very cognizant about doing very reasonable rate and very minimal increases when he does, and they're definitely not the increases, so. He's very civic minded in that regards, I think he appreciates having
When
it down.
football was terrible.
What was that?
When football was terrible. That's how long you've been here.
Yeah, it has. I've got to see that entire transition. It was rather fun. I might have been down there, when not such fun times for RCPD. No evidence. Any questions, commissioners? Okay, if you guys look at those reports any further, have any questions, let me know. Glad to get you answers. Next, commissioners, we have Michael Bowler of 915-920 with bid openings.
Lot of bids this time. It's good.
Yeah, no, I saw that. We got some packets, sure. Hey, look, Michael. Good weekend.
Nice and cool.
No,
Sometimes they did it, they all that, but not expect this.
You too. Good seeing you, Gary. Garden started producing everything like crazy right now.
Like a few more tomatoes, but the plants are so full.
That's what mine are. My tomatoes, I have not everything but tomatoes. There's lots of green ones under my plants. I mean, the
Oh, yeah.
plants are so
Huge
full and
bush.
bushy that you can't even see in to see the
Right,
tomatoes.
yeah.
But they're not ripe, but these I picked a monster jalapeno crop yesterday and eggplants, squash, and cucumbers, and beans. Got my first crop of beans because I had to plant them 3 times, so they're late, before I finally got a crop to grow, but.
Because of the weather, right?
No, just the first 2 batches I planted, nothing come up. It was getting lots of okra. Okra, once it starts growing, you can't keep up with
Oh, yeah.
that stuff. It grows so fast. Pumpkin plants are getting huge.
It's. the Pumpkins over the weekend. 'Cause it's the eating pumpkins.
Oh, okay. Have a garden,
Cooked
yeah,
up
excess squash.
Yeah, my butternut squash and spaghetti squash is doing well. Haven't picked any yet, but they're growing like crazy.
I had, what was it, last year, is it abundance of eggplants, but I just didn't plant.
Yeah, my eggplants are huge this year, and I've been getting lots. As a matter of fact, I took the eggplant up last night. Brought 3 into work today.
It's good, I like it, but it's just like, you know, eat something. But I just, I thought it was like. So,
No, yeah, I
I
got
had a
you.
garden.
Yeah. I got all my stuff in late because of to avoid the farmer's spray, you know, because they've got crop fields right around. When soybeans, I swear, are that tall.
I mean,
Soybeans are huge.
it was over by Wildcat Park, they're all those.
Yeah, I didn't realize how tall they were, you know, they're only 100 yards from the house, but down there on the mower yesterday, riding by something like.
Yeah, let's see that.
Are they starting to bloom?
Oh, yeah.
I was looking at the plant, I'm not too familiar with soybeans. Seeing how many plants, or how many blooms on one plant.
Yeah, they get a lot.
Yeah, seems like the field over there grows that much a day.
Should be a good soybean crop this year.
Yeah, it should be. Corn looks good too.
Yep, our corn looks good. Maybe Vivian, not me. You an expert on iPhones?
No, but I'll give it a look.
I am not. Maybe Brittany, you an expert on iPhones? iPhones?
Ew. I don't like Apple products at all.
Yeah, I don't.
I don't either.
I use a Samsung.
Going to do it in sleep now. Like, I don't know. I mean, it's just like. Fortunately, to do it recurring, that's the only way to do it recurring, you can set it every day.
Yeah.
If you, in the regular alarm part, if you want to, or if you want to set up a recurring, you just edit. That is before you do a little slider. It's still pretty easy. It works. Yeah. Turn around and so and so's. Yeah, you barely use it. And sleep. I'll show you. So your phone doesn't. Need or text or you. It quiets your phone.
Got some huge jalapenos this year.
No.
Got fellow plants.
Yeah, so I have you.
Okay, that's great.
Huge, biggest one I've ever.
My pepper plant's fine. Peppers. And my
Bell
my
My bell peppers are loaded too. My bell pepper plants are loaded.
They didn't grow for a long time. They sat there, now they finally grow. So
Yeah.
that's good.
I couldn't believe how many jalapenos I had on this time.
Made it special paste. It's so full
Yeah.
when it comes through.
Yeah.
Funny.
We also kept saying that.
Which is good. So.
I'm wondering if we're gonna get the hot sunny weather for them to get red.
know.
We're gonna transition right into fall.
They're gonna get the weather they need.
Uh-huh.
Well, they can't get the sun. Because it's like. It's crazy. this
Bush
year.
here. And my daughter in town, her plants aren't so bushy, but she's getting more tomatoes than I do. Her plants look kind of sick, they're mine, but they're producing tomatoes. Funny, you couldn't get the kids to work in the garden growing up, but now they all grow gardens on their own, you know, which is good.
Yeah. Two of mine. You know, yeah.
They still come over and steal from mine now.
Okay, well, we're at 9:15 and we have a bid opening for a tractor in the noxious weed department here. It looks like we've got 4, so. First one I have here is from Prairie Land Partners in Wamego, Kansas. What's up, right? For one John Deere 6120M tractor. Bid that I'm seeing here is for $123,837.44. Nothing else was included on that. All that included in the paper clip there.
But it has all the accessories and everything on it.
Yeah, just the tractor. Stand.
Michael,
What was the staff review?
Again, this bid's from Prairie Land Partners. Total price $123,837.44.
Okay, bid number 2 I have is from CanQuip. That's also in Wamego. Is that pretty much the same setup there? I don't know brand name, but total bid that I have shown here is $121,687 even.
Hand equip. Total price $121,687.
And the next one I have is also from CanQuip. Once again, that's in Wamego. The exact same thing.
There's something on the front and another envelope. on the
Yeah, I
front.
saw that. There wasn't.
Maybe they revised it. In there.
Nope, it's empty.
Same price, same everything.
What I'm showing.
John Deere 6120.
Yep. Or
No, it-
equivalent. It didn't say brand name, but
Oh, that makes that.
maybe the date of delivery or something was different. And
It's not necessarily a John Deere.
didn't say.
it's brand.
It says or equivalent.
But
I might be missing something.
yeah, but it is- Like same. Bid $121,687.
Like a police tractor there.
It's New Holland.
New Holland. And
Okay, well, the last one I got is from Rossville Truck and Tractor. That's in Rossville, Kansas. Like it's a Case IH brand. I'm trying to read the numbers here and see if I can hold a copy maybe. Okay, I'm gonna go with it here. Looks like it's $116,101.24. A little hard time reading it.
Rossville truck and tractor. $116,101.24. Yeah. Motion, we send these. Send these things to staff for review and recommendation.
I would second that.
Then moved and seconded to send the bid recommendations to staff for further review and recommendation. All in favor?
Um,
And next up, we'll discuss the mower. Yep. The first one I've got is from Prairie Land Partners. Once again, it's in Wamego. John Deere FCI ROR Flex Wing Rotary Cutter. That's a mouthful. $25,786.80 is the bid. Seeing in front of me. Reading the clip.
First bid from Prairie Land Partners. $25,786.80.
Next one I have is from CanQuip. Wamego. Okay. The bid I'm seeing here is $26,996.70.
Anything further? Total bid $26,996.70.
Is that a John Deere also?
No,
No. Orange. And pride.
Okay, next one I have is from Hull Manufacturing. This is actually out of North Little Rock, Arkansas. It's like Bushwhacker is the name of the brand. Total price on this one is $23,478.15.
Hall Manufacturing Total bid, $23,478.15.
And last but not least, the next one is from Rossville Truck and Tractor. Yeah, I'm not even gonna begin to try to read that one. I'm gonna go with $26,125. Hard to read. Lots of information on there though.
Yeah, this bid from Rossville Truck and Tractor. $26,125.
Names. Okay, I would make a motion, just to send back the bids, to staff for review and recommendation.
Second,
It's been moved and seconded to send these bids back to staff for recommendation and approval. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And we've got press conference in a couple minutes. Yeah.
Basketball team looking like this year. A lot of new parts.
yeah, a lot of these parts, we can get them all going the same direction, which never seemed to do last year.
Didn't quite have the firepower needed last year, great this year.
Then, still that, might all be here now, but all of one of them, and there's a lot of the summer, you know. Working out together.
That should help. End of the day.
She's not feeling well. She asked me to come fill in.
I have my tickets already. I could buy them pay for them 6 months ahead of time.
Yeah. Send them, well, football. But I draw it out.
Yeah, mine's
Like,
like 3 or 4 months. Yeah, men's and women's tickets again this year. Tickets are not where the reserve seats are. Women, so we just sit in the same place. Yeah. The GAs.
Right down. Down the floor,
So,
no,
long walk.
well,
We
it's
used to be down like 12 or something, now we're up at 22.
22. Now, those steps are,
That's a long hike down there and back,
Crazy.
we just. Danny Williams still strong, right? So,
really,
same seat.
Okay.
same seat, well,
Time for morning press conference.
Okay, good morning, Commissioners. Vivian Leyba, Public Information Officer, filling in for Amanda Webb today. Good news about the Keats Sanitary Sewer Improvements Project. And that is the official name that the consultants have asked us to use moving forward. I've changed the website and all that good stuff. I just have to remember to start referring to it that way because we've called it many different things over the years. So Keats Sanitary Sewer Improvements Project. Just rolls off the top.
Does something, that's for sure.
So the good news is that the BG Consultants Inc. is beginning the initial field work for this project. And residents in the Keats area will begin seeing workers marking utilities and then workers from BG Consultants taking topographical survey information starting this month. No digging or construction or any of that stuff is scheduled to start, but there will be workers in the area and some of them will need to go on private property at points. And they'll be uniformed, wearing branded clothing, high vis, and have all their company vehicles there. A little bullet point list from Samuel Johnson, the project engineer. He said they will begin preliminary design in the office this month. They're calling in utility locates for water, power, cable, fiber, gas, all that good stuff. And having them marked in the field the first half of this month. And then they'll come in and perform the utility and topographical survey after the utilities are marked, so mid to late August. And then they'll be working to identify utility and structure conflicts with the preliminary design and then redesign those as needed. And then after all of that, they'll survey the cleanouts and septic tanks and identify the preliminary service line alignment. And that's going to be late August through September, or into early September, excuse me. So, and then after they get the preliminary alignment figured out for the sewer, manholes and service lines, they'll coordinate with residents on any concerns. So that could be like properties that have potentially difficult installations due to existing water lines or established trees, and they'll work with those people individually to get all those details worked out. So then to make sure residents are aware that workers will be in the area, we have sent a direct email to folks signed up for the distribution list, issued press releases, updated the website, and then printed flyers, which Commissioner Boki was kind enough to offer to distribute to residents in person. So we'll continue to try and get the word out as much as possible so folks know what to expect as the project moves forward. And we're of course really excited to see this take shape. A reminder about the funding, and there's all kinds of details, and I will share those. I'll get those to you in writing, Emma, so you don't have to try and write down all these numbers. The Kansas Water Office recently awarded Keats a technical assistance grant to evaluate sites for the facility, and KDHE invested $2,537,790 to assist Riley County in implementing this project. And then technical assistance for the project is funded by the State of Kansas Water Plan Fund. Construction is funded by the Kansas Department of Health and Environment Small Town Water and Sewer Infrastructure Assistance Program and American Rescue Plan Act funds. Any remaining project costs will be added to an annual special property tax assessment for each user in the Keats Area Benefit District. More information about the project is available on our website, rileycountyks.gov. And then we advise people to look for the Keats Sanitary Sewer Improvements Project to find those details. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we're still working with the USDA. Right.
Morning, Commissioners. Anna Burson with the Riley County Appraiser's Office. I'm just here to announce that income and expense questionnaires will be mailed Thursday, August 15th. Again, that's Thursday, not Friday. I apologize for that oversight. As part of the state mandated reappraisal process, the Riley County Appraiser's Office is conducting a survey of the multifamily, commercial, industrial properties and respectfully requests participation from property owners. We are studying trends in the local real estate market regarding rents, occupancy, and operating expenses. The income and expense questionnaires will be mailed this Thursday, August 15th. The information we receive from the survey's return will be maintained confidential in accordance to Kansas law and the standards of professional appraisal practice. The information will be used to calibrate our valuation models, and it will not be used to value the specific properties for which information is provided. It will be used in conjunction with data on other properties of similar use to find typical rents, occupancy, and expenses for the particular use type, whether it's retail, office, or multifamily. We value property owners' time, and if it's easier to print out an income and expense report, a rent roll, or an IRS tax statement, that can be provided as supplement to the survey. And additionally, forms being mailed can be accessed on the Riley County Appraiser's Office website under Real Estate, Appraisal Forms, and Commercial. Completed questionnaires and or any additional documentation can be returned by email, fax, or mail, and or dropped off to the appraiser's office no later than September 2nd. Again, thank you for the timely return of these documents. Thank you.
Catherine Hensworth.
Good morning, Commissioners. Monday. Catherine Hensler, Director of the Raleigh County Historical Museum. We don't normally have to come to you very often with a request to fill positions, but today we come with a request to fill 2 of them. The first is a very important position at the museum. That is the Curator of Archives and Library. We are coming to you in advance of that vacancy. So the incumbent is Linda Glasgow, who has been with the county in that position for almost 32 years. This fall, when she retires, which she has just recently announced her formal retirement intent, she will have been with the county for 32 years. So that is a long-standing individual in that position. We will miss her, but we also have to move forward. So we are coming to you with that request in advance. We have significantly updated that job description, and that was included in your packet. And you'll notice it really focuses heavily on technology and organization and finding aids and some things that we feel are just essential moving forward to futures in museums. The second position is an as-needed museum assistant, and those are our very part-time positions at the museum. The most recent incumbent was Sydney Wolgast, who had started with us in February, and she recently announced her intent to resign. She was a graduate student and graduated and is moving on with her career and life. So she did a fabulous job, but this does leave an opening that we request to fill. I will scroll down here to fiscal impact. Excuse me, both of these positions have been budgeted for both the 2024 and 25 fiscal years. So there will not be any increase in budget or requesting additional funding. Right now, the as-needed museum assistant positions are all set at $15 an hour. We have no intent of changing that. The current pay range for the curatorial position, if hired now, is between that $25.92 and $43.36 an hour. That, of course, is lower than what the current incumbent is being paid. However, that individual has been on staff for 32 years. And so the fiscal impact of hiring a new person, while we will have some additional costs in listing the position and potential travel if the applicants live outside of the area, will still be far below the current incumbent. Today, my recommendation and also request is for the Board of County Commissioners to review and approve those 2 updated job descriptions, and with your permission, be able to post them publicly. Are there any questions?
The curator who's been there for 32 years, Linda, there's the new person's not going to come in ahead of time and work with her.
Right. We're actually recommending that Linda finishes out her time with us, and then we will bring someone out after that. There is so much to go through. And we really feel it's gonna be most helpful to the new staff person to have a month or so of just private time to go through and analyze. Linda has offered to help us in any way we need, by phone, by email, to answer questions. I will say that the library is not organized up to standard, and really at this point, we feel if there is basically two individuals in there at the same time, there may actually be confusion. We would rather the new person get in, make an assessment, a professional assessment, and be able to hit the ground running. And so that's why we haven't staggered the two positions together.
I hate to see Linda go.
We do too, but she's promised us she won't be that far. She reminds us pretty regularly, I only live about 6 minutes away. If you guys need help, she will be there. And she is very dedicated and really wants the best for this department in the museum. So she's happy to continue to work with us in the future. Not on staff, but yeah.
Okay, if she's gonna continue, is she on the historical board itself?
Correct, yeah, so we do have that private nonprofit organization, the Historical Society, so she could serve on that board if she wished. And then she is on the Preservation Alliance board.
Okay.
So she'll be connected with
She'll be
us in the
connected, yeah.
history and culture community, probably until infinity.
Probably.
Any other questions?
Okay, well, I'll make a motion to approve the updated positions as presented.
Well, second.
Wait, say that again?
The, to approve the updated positions as presented.
Okay.
And to open them
And
to
open
fill,
up.
to
And
fill.
to-
fill that
correct,
back.
okay. And to fill these, the curator and
As needed.
as
Assistant.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to update and fill both director of curator of archives and library. I wanted to get it right. And the they're in two different spots. And the as needed museum assistant in the museum department. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All please sign both documents.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I was in two different spots there. So
Apparently that was confusing.
normally we do those individually and not together. So yeah.
Suggested one there.
You can go ahead.
Okay. Well, it's me again. You got me for another 15 minutes. I'm also, I guess I'll reiterate, Catherine Hensler, Museum Director. I am coming to you this morning with our staff update and monthly report. And so looking back to July of 2024, we can see our attendance. Museum had 248 guests. The Goodnoe House had 133. Wolf House 47 visitors, Pioneer Log Cabin 19, and I will note we are very low on Pioneer Log Cabin simply because we had so many days in July that we're above 95. We actually close when it's that hot because that facility does not have any air conditioning and it has terrible airflow. So for the safety of our staff and our guests, we do close when it's that hot. So numbers are a bit lower than we would like in July. As far as our programs and outreach, we had 57 attendees. You'll also notice that's quite low from previous months. We have quiet months in July. We didn't offer as many programs. Our big thing in July was the fireside chat and then also the cemetery for the headstone preservation workshop that we held in Ogden. So our numbers are a little bit lower in July, however, not numbers we're unhappy with. Volunteer hours altogether between general, the Historical Society Board of Directors, and our community service workers, we had 174, which is higher than normal. So also very pleased with those. We'll go through all of the education and outreach programs that we did in the month. Like I mentioned, it was a little bit slower. We did have our fireside chat, and that brought in 38 attendees. We had our headstone cleaning workshop in Ogden that brought in 19, and we were able to clean 19 historic stones. There were a couple workshops that our staff attended in that month. I think the important thing to mention is we are moving forward with a complete redesign and redevelopment and reinstallation of our museum exhibits. So we do have some lofty goals to have this done and completed and reopened by January 25th of 2025. Kansas Day. We're doing this completely internally and with the support of our historical society and a couple volunteers that we have throughout the community. But we have about 2,163 square feet to redo. So like I mentioned, we are able to do the majority of this through donations, through grants, funding through the society, and then we will use our budget that we have budgeted for 2024 through the museum's budget. We will come to you with more information on that, but so far it's shaping up to be very exciting. And we're incredibly fortunate we have an interior designer on that committee who's providing the services in kind. So stay tuned. Also, yesterday was the last day for Sunflower Summer, and we have received a lot of visitors at the museum through that program. And just as a reminder, the Historical Society receives grant funding through the state for that. So every person that comes in and checks in through that program, grant dollars are being sent to the Historical Society, which in turn helps fund programs with the museum. And I also want to note that we have had an increase in volunteer interest at the museum, which is fabulous. In the month of July, we brought in 5 new volunteers who are currently training, and we have a couple more to interview this month. So we always enjoy that. Excuse me. What we have been doing is trying to put volunteers in those docent roles to alleviate those museum assistant positions. If we can get volunteer docents, those museum assistants can then support our curators who can help take off some of the responsibility from the backlog that we have at the museum as far as collections. And moving right into collections. Number of collections donated, 8 individuals walked through the door in the month of July, and they donated 69 items. Now, you'll remember we are under a collections moratorium, and this is not supposed to be happening. We did have a couple people show up who had been confirmed previous to that moratorium taking place, and they were told a few months ago, yes, you can bring it in. So we did honor that. But we hope to keep our numbers a bit lower than 69 objects coming in. That, of course, is not going to help our backlog. So we also are going to have to be a little tougher from the curatorial perspective of just saying, no, please wait until May of 2025. I also wanted to provide you with an update. As you remember, I've mentioned this at a couple other staff updates that we're working on the NAGPRA revision obligation. And just as a reminder, NAGPRA is the Native American Graves Protection and Repatriation Act. They came out with some revisions in January. And while we don't receive federal dollars, it is a requirement for museums that receive federal dollars. We would like to be eligible for funding in the future. And also it is just best practices from an ethical museum standpoint. So what Curator Munger was able to do in the past about 6 months, she did a full inventory of all of the Native American objects we have in the museum, which are over 3,500 of them. And those are identified. We do have collections that might have a couple hundred arrow points, might have a couple hundred tools in that same collection. So we have quite a bit. And so what she was able to do is she essentially reconciled the entire collection, brought it out from storage, verified that it was still in the museum, still in the same location, still in the same condition, and photographed it. She then put all of that data into a spreadsheet. And our obligation is to have invitations to consult to all of the relevant tribes by August 12th, which is today. We had 43 letters go out last Friday to those tribes, and we're already receiving responses with requests to consult. And that an invitation to consult or request to consult is just offering to those tribes. We have some objects that you may be interested in. We would like to make those available to you. If you'd like to learn more information, we would be happy to do that. And then from there, if they choose to accept those items, we'll make sure that they get to their destination and get to their rightful owners. So the deadline for those invites is today. We have a few more that need to go out. However, we have 2 years to consult with those tribes. So we will probably be very busy with that project until the duration of those 2 years. And moving into archives and library, we handled fewer requests in the month of July. July just seems to be a quieter month overall. 6 external research requests came in, no internal requests, 6 in-person appointments that were pre-scheduled, and then 1 walk-in. So again, quieter, but this is a good time for quiet activity in that space as we are trying to clean things up, clean things out, and make it a bit more presentable to whoever is hired into that new position, or that, not the new position, but the new vacancy. As far as building and grounds, I'm very happy to report that we have no report. So far, we've had a good month, no major issues. I did mention earlier in my car that longtime curator of Archives and Library, Linda Glasgow, has announced her retirement, and after 32 years with the county, she is ready to retire. She also, just as a reminder, she worked for the Historical Society prior to being brought on to staff at the museum or through the county. So she has actually been with us longer than 32 years, but county, her time has been 32 years. We will be hosting a retirement party for her on Friday, September 20th from 1 to 3 p.m. at the Goodnoe House property. So keep an eye out for an invitation that will be coming to you very shortly. We also had that vacancy left by Sydney Wolgast, who was the as-needed museum assistant. So we will look forward to filling that in the very near future, we hope. Moving into the Historical Society, the Board of Directors are now in their 3rd month of working with Coneflower Consulting. They are coming in to do both board education, but helping them create and develop their new strategic plan. If everything goes as planned, they will be able to present that to the membership at their November meeting, and that is their annual meeting. And then the implementation date for that will be January 1st, 2025. And just as a reminder, the Society Board is still on recess. They will get back to their board meetings in September. I believe their first meeting is September 11th. The board is also working on a number of preservation and beautification projects, primarily at the Wolf House and the Rocky Forts Schoolhouse this fall. And then I recently provided them, both the Society Board and the trustees with a behind-the-scenes tour of the Wolf House complex and behind the scenes at the museum. I feel that is very important for them as they're going into strategic planning to really understand the magnitude of both the space issues as well as the backlog. And I would obviously like to extend an invitation to each of the commissioners as well. I know we've done that kind of on a yearly basis. If you would like to come and visit and take a look at the facility as well as the space issues and the collections, we were more than happy to schedule that with you. And then just real quickly, upcoming events. I will note that we do not have a fireside chat in August. We are taking a month off, but we will reconvene in September on September 10th, and that will be the history of Motown with Chappie, Doug Chapman, who is a Kansas Music Hall of Famer. So he'll be sharing a little bit of history about Motown and the music associated with it, and also he'll be doing a real quick acoustic performance. We will also be, this is still tentative, it hasn't been released to the public yet, but it is scheduled for September 21st. We will be doing a bus tour, and that will be discovering Riley County's hidden history. We'll be heading out to the rural parts of Riley County rather than focusing on Manhattan specific history, and Kevin Larson, as I think you all know, will be our tour guide. So that will be posted very shortly once we get the tickets set up. And there will be a cost for this program, and that's of course to cover the cost of the charter bus that we'll have. We will have another fireside chat on October 8th, and it'll be titled An Airman and His B-29. And our speaker will be Carol Regier. She has a family story that she'll be sharing with us that connects to both Riley County and also the history of flight in Kansas. As always, those programs are free and open to the public. They're held at Flight Crew Coffee downtown in Points. And then lastly, October 10th, the Historical Society will be holding their quarterly meeting titled A History of Keats in the Wildcat Valley. It will be a panel discussion, and Marcella Gawkin, Mel Knudsen, and of course, our favorite, Kevin Larson, is back on the schedule. We will be having pie from the Farmhouse Restaurant that evening as well, 7 p.m. Keats Community Center. This is free and open to the public. That concludes my report. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, we have a fun fall planned.
I see that.
Thank you very much.
Next Commissioner, you have John Allen at 10. Rain yesterday? You get that little rain yesterday?
Yeah, in the afternoon, yeah, it was. That's good.
Yeah, 30 out of it.
I didn't ever check, it didn't seem like.
Of course, yeah, right as I was starting to mow. So I got a partially mowed lawn.
That's what I mean, mine's got. I know we're supposed to be done today.
Yeah,
That's
that's
what's all
all.
for a couple of
I
weeks.
couldn't believe how tall it was, and then I got shut down. So around my son's place, I should have been mowing earlier.
Yeah. That was just one little band of,
I know,
yeah.
right at the perfect time, couldn't wait an hour later. I'd be done,
Yeah.
you know? We've been on that's the rain.
Still think it's funny you say it's dry here, and it is, I see my yard, but. As much rain as we received in Garden City. This is a flood, worth of rain.
It's whole different world,
Yeah.
for sure. The farmers, they used to hunt antelope out there, you know, we'd sit and talk with him, and Yeah, just the difference.
And for 3 months, it's dry, so you have more here than we've had in Garden City in the last 10 years.
I mean, just think the wind blows here. Out
Yeah.
there, holy moly, the wind blows.
It does.
It can.
Well, we're at 10 a.m. So.
Good morning, Commissioners, John Ellerman, Public Works, and my first item on the agenda is the request to fill a traffic control technician position. This one we had filled for 3 or 4 months, maybe. And he decided he was gonna go back to school. So he, I think last Friday was his last day. And here we are again looking for a traffic control tech. Important position for us to keep our signs up and maintained the way they should be. And to help protect the traveling public. In the county, it's budgeted full-time position. So there's no problem with funding for this position. And staff recommends that we fill this position.
I moved to approve the public works. Advertise and hire the open traffic control technician position.
I would second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the Public Works Department advertise to hire the open traffic control technician's position. All in favor?
I,
All three of these fine.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sean.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you're good.
So my next item is my monthly update for projects. Parallel Road culvert project is going pretty well. Both abutments have been poured. They're driving false work to start forming up the depth. It's a single span launch slab. So they still have another, probably about a month or so to go with on that bridge. Or box, or not even either, culvert, small structure. Parks Department had a good fair last couple of weeks and started back up into mowing, cleaning out landscape beds. Spraying weeds and stuff in landscape beds and on the fields. And maybe back to, or they're gonna try to get into picking up the trees and branches that have been downed in the last few storms we've had out at Fairmount that they've just been able to push aside, not be able to pick up yet, so. They're getting back into business. All of their seasonal help has now left us and went back to school. And looking for some more maybe to run us through winter. Operations crew in Patchen Roads getting ready for our striping. Chip seal is not complete since we lost our distributor. We had Circle C come in and finished the last mile or so of 1,600 gallons, I think is what they put down for us. Pavement marking is they're here today and maybe tomorrow they'll finish up striping.
I saw you guys out on Eureka and Wildcat Creek last week.
Yes,
Doing any of that.
So it's having to have help with their distributor. Distributor was totaled out. Costs more to fix the motor than it was worth. To get new ones, we're looking at 100 and something thousand or more. Not sure where we want to go. We're looking at maybe wanting to contract our sealing work out. We typically only do 10 to less than 15 miles a year. We can maybe bid that out and then we can get rid of a couple more pieces of equipment that go along with the sealing that only use 1 week of the year. Makes it kind of hard to justify keeping if you're not going to use it much more than that.
Yeah.
My public notice this morning or comment was about the box on West 69th Avenue being replaced. They're working on that today through this week. Kansas Avenue structure has been completed. Looking at maybe doing the Ober Road, late August. And the side in Wildcat, those were our structures that were on our sales tax project list that we can buy the box through sales tax and have Allen's group with them. They're precast structures. They're small enough to be able to do with Allen's crew, and we're looking at doing those in September, October. Some of the rains, we've been good grading, road grading conditions. Crews mowed out the Valleywood channel from Valleywood down to Marlatt drainage. Kansas Avenue signs are up in place where they need to be. Flashing lights are another 30 days out. Positions, custodian, we have an offer out for custodian. Facility tech, we're still looking for good applications. We start utility tech afternoon and Wednesday. And we just approved traffic control tech position. University Park Lagoon, we are looking at still trying to get a culture on environmental study. The PER has gone out for approval to KDHE. And design is happening. We were looking at variances for that from the homes there, but I think we're just far enough away, we won't need those. Which is good, because we might have had a little hiccup if we had to get that close. Headquarters station, Commissioner McKinley gave an update Thursday, pretty much. Most of the footings and stuff are in place. The walls are going up pretty quickly. The walls for the admin, the shop, the garage bays, and some of the storage rooms and FEMA shelter are pretty well underway. And all that's left in the next few weeks would be the living quarters, walls going up. The floor and the admin side has been placed. I think this week they're looking at pouring some of the floor in the storage areas. See what else. The drainage structure, the underground drainage is all completely covered up. The along the ditch and the backside of the station is being done by Blueville. They're putting up the retaining wall. And so they're moving pretty well. It won't be long. Steel's coming in this week. So maybe start to put steel up here in the next few weeks.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
We've had a budget meeting for the most part for the emergency management, the old EMS station remodel. Got some things to discuss with them and figure out what our budget number is for them to be able to start to really get into the design part of what we want to do. Fourth floor is pretty much complete. I think most of the minor issues that have been done that needed to be done have been completed. Not sure of all of them. I haven't been updated from contractor. The roof, we are spending some time up there just running water, trying to find where that's coming from. Jerry spent a couple hours up there running water around the drain, around some other items up there, and no leak. And then we had a rain the next night. It took 4 days for water to show up inside, so not sure where that's going to be a hunt to figure out where that's coming from.
It has been a hunt.
It's not been easy. We thought it was the drain. We thought they've been up there and worked on the drain 2 or 3 times. It seems to be, it's sealed up. So whatever's getting in is getting in somewhere else, running underneath the plastic on the roof and finding its way between the drain, the concrete and the drain. So it's getting around the drain and not through the drain. We're starting to look in towards around the penthouse area where anything and everything we can find to get in there. If it takes them that long for water to get there, it's going to be really hard to find. We can run water for 3 or 4 hours and take 2 days to find it coming in. I mean, just one step, one location at a time. To be able to find where that's coming from.
It's amazing. John's been working on it. I appreciate what John's been doing. Hi, Jerry.
I feel sorry for Susan having to have that ugly trash can in her office. I keep teasing her that I'm gonna put, or her, Annalisa, I'm gonna put planter flowers around the little nice looking area, so
Being creative.
Stand there.
do something to make it worthwhile having them.
No, that was going on with the other tenants over there. We had trash cans everywhere.
And they're all gone except for this one, so where it's coming from is not as obvious as what it appeared to be at the beginning.
Yes,
Think
some
it
of
has,
those leaks, when it gets in, it can run around.
think it has to be around that penthouse area, I guess. I don't know.
I'm wondering if it's coming from inside.
The penthouse.
Well, but when it rains, the water really shouldn't be getting inside the penthouse.
It's not the windows.
Somehow it's coming in through rock, getting up in there.
Better not be.
So moving on. We have all the milk, we took all the. We spread them out in the yard and up in the truck parking area out there. We have still a pretty good pile left over. And it's been a project I'd like to see a long time ago. I think we have the ability to do some of that now, maybe this fall, winter. Build a little road between Public Works shop parking lot and Noxious Weed parking lot. We get a lot of customers coming into our office looking for household hazardous waste. And our only way to get them there is go back out to the highway,
Gotcha.
make a left. Sometimes it's not. We're worried that someone's gonna get it.
Yeah, it's not an easy left turn.
No.
I don't like doing that when it's. Not that many, but enough that it makes me worried, so. Mike's okay with that. Alvin's crew can go in and build it up and put millings down on that piece of road. And we'll just build something there in between the 2 parking lots that we don't have to send people back out to the highway.
You put it along the front there, kind of like a frontage road, or?
It's gonna come out of the bridge. The sign shop and the bridge shop parking lot and tie into their parking lot. The backside, so it'll go through the trees. We might take out a couple, 1 or 2 of those. Pine trees, but for sure turn them back. But it won't come out into the front. Almost not be noticed, I think, from the highway.
Got the equipment to do it.
Got the equipment, got the people, do something different from them to do for a change instead of the same old stuff. I think Rich said he forwarded you an email and a link to K18 I-70 interchange project meeting. For local officials, they have one. They'll have a public meeting, or a meeting is through Zoom. Right, and then I think then later that evening, they're gonna have a public meeting in August. So local officials, there's one at 10 AM and one 3 AM via Teams meeting.
3
I guess,
PM.
Not Zoom. What's that? 3?
You said
3
AM. I'm not doing a Zoom call
I'm not
3
doing
AM.
Be on their own. And then I think, what is it, 4:30 to 6:30 is
Yeah.
an open house there in Ogden Community Center. KDHE is at, should be in, or their contractor should be at Fairmont Park drilling in groundwater wells to sample the groundwater along can't think of that across the street. Down at the end of Messenger, right at the beginning of the park. There was an old well house there on the corner. They're gonna go across the street. Straight to the north and then to the northeast to the other field to do some sampling. They say chlorinated solvents or that was, they think is a spill. Or thought was a spill at some time. And these are just trying to track the plume and the contamination levels. So once they start doing this, I think they should be back for at least 4 years until they notice the plume's not going anywhere and the contaminants or levels are down. And then they'll go away or not be back as often to check that. But we do want to make sure, and they want to make sure that those things are taken care of and are getting better. I think that is all I have, unless you have any questions.
No. Yeah.
No, good.
Bye.
If you want, I could think of a couple maybe, but.
How's your chance?
No, I think we're good. That's a good report.
Duck and run before somebody comes up.
Yeah.
Come on.
Thanks, Sean. Next, question, you have executive session with Clancy at 10:25.
That's right. Okay. Move around. So. Nice save. Florida.
At least it wasn't full.
Full-time Clancy? Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
That'd be 10:45.
Yep.
Need that month anyway.
That's why it's called a desk blotter.
Which are these bid sheets just to recycle?
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, they have to say, what if I have something that comes up and you have to set the light in the States? Have to go eat that over.
And a heat index of 105 on Wednesday.
Is that great?
Wow.
So much for fall.
Excellent. It's not.
I mean, it's the middle of August. I wasn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't getting my hopes up for the record, yeah.
I believe it's August
Mm.
11th, man.
Mhm.
Right on.
My theory is that there's always one day in October that everybody's wearing sweaters and then it gets up to 89
Yeah.
with no warning.
Yeah. Be interesting winter if the moisture keeps continuing through winter and temperature drops.
I'm wondering. I haven't really seen an official forecast yet.
What's
Yeah.
the Farmer's Almanac say?
Yeah, I hadn't seen it yet.
Real horrible. So I'm kind of curious. The kind of thing sometimes you can watch nature and see little hints. And
Sure.
we've got a lot of hay and a lot of straw this year, so I kind of wonder if Mother Nature isn't preparing us for what might be coming.
Interesting.
Lots of feed for the livestock, so
Mhm.
see what the woolly caterpillars say, that'll be coming up soon.
I've been using your pepper and archery jet.
Don't you can tell.
Told it to my son, who's a sous chef out in Las Vegas. He got a kick out of it. I told him, hey, it's a food joke. You can use it.
Courtesy of Mr. John Elway.
See the one? Have you told Rich?
Why didn't the pepper sign up for the archery competition? Because he didn't have an arrow.
That's so terrible, it's good. That's how you measure those. My son got laughed. He showed his teeth, I think, over the phone.
That's as bad as.
They're all bad.
What do you call a bulletproof Irishman?
I don't know.
Rick O'Shea.
Jeez, add it to your list. Vivian, that's part of it.
Gosh.
Part of your material.
Just a joke.
Hey, everybody, tough crowd, tough crowd. You gotta practice for Employee Recognition Day. For the lulls in the movement of the crowd.
That probably is. I wouldn't doubt there is.
You gotta keep going so you don't get some that are questionable from the
Like
crowd.
that one, Don?
See,
That was pretty good. That's pretty good.
I like that.
I didn't get it.
That was pretty good.
I'm so gullible.
what is the proper term for a happy farmer? Jolly Rancher.
Ah,
That one's too.
you really need to say cattleman.
Oh, okay, I'll change it for happy cattle.
It's a rancher. Somebody will challenge you. You're not a farmer.
It's different.
Oh, no, the farmers and the ranchers are different.
Yeah, they are.
When I worked at, on the radio and I was new in Kansas, I was giving the weather and I said something about the Arkansas River.
Oh, Arkansas.
People called in for days.
I always like it when you hear regional commercials that get things wrong, like calling it El Dorado, Kansas.
I've seen one that's about in Salina.
Salina,
Yeah,
that happens
Salinas
quite a
is
bit.
good one.
I heard that.
LA
pretty
people.
recently.
That's
Yeah.
Salina.
I heard that on the radio, I think. Fairly recent.
Well, if you've never pronounced it, just see the name Meridocene, try to pronounce that based on how it's spelled.
Oh, yeah. That's one you just ask. Okay, I know I already announced, I'm gonna get this wrong, but here it comes.
Okay,
All right.
Yep.
I move the county commission, including Chairman Ford, Vice Chairman Kinley, and Commissioner Foki recess into executive session on potential litigation for the purpose of consultation with Clancy Holman, County Councilor, and Brian Parker, Deputy County Councilor, attorneys for the commission, which would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship and exception in the Kansas Open Meeting Act. Open meeting to resume in the county commission chambers at 10:45.
I'll second that.
yeah, it's been moved and seconded for the county commission to go into executive session for the purpose of potential litigation with Clancy Holman, County Councilor, and Bryant Parker, Deputy County Councilor, with the open meeting to resume in the commission chamber at 10:45 a.m. All in favor?
Aye.
Keep you posted.
Meeting is live.
I move the board, county commissioners come out of executive session.
I would second that.
It's been moved and seconded. The Board of County Commissioners come out of executive session. All in favor?
Aye. I move the record reflect action shall be taken consistent with the consensus reached in executive session.
I would second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Yeah, better look at that. That the record reflect action shall be taken consistent with the consensus reached in executive session. All in favor?
Thank you, commissioners. That's all I have.
Okay. We need a motion.
I'll move to recess of the Board of County Commissioners and convene as Board of Health.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded to recess as the Board of County Commission and then reconvene as the Board of County Health. All in favor?
Good morning, Commissioners. Julie Gibbs with the Health Department. I'm here with an out-of-state travel request for myself to attend the 21C Learning Community. This one will take place in Chicago at the end of September, early October. This is the second convening of the year for the 21C Learning Community. The first was in New Mexico. I went there in February for a few days. It was very beneficial, and I'm sure this one will be as well. The agenda is attached, so you have that there. Randy Bowman will be joining me. Usually it's Kendra Baldridge from KDHE. She's not able to go, so it'll be Randy Bowman, the executive director of CALL, who will be attending. This will be his first meeting. So all of the whole cost is covered by FAB. Actually, they take care of the hotel and the flight arrangements on their website. The meals and the cost of travel to and from the airport will be covered by myself and then reimbursed at a later date. But everything's covered by the FAB board. And this will take place September 30th and October 1st. And again, that will be in Chicago. Questions?
I would make a motion to approve the out-of-state travel request from the Department of Health.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the out-of-state travel request for the Raleigh County Health Department. All in favor?
Chair, please sign.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julie.
I move a recess of the Board of Health and convene as the Board of County Commissioners.
I would second that.
It's been moved and seconded to recess as the Board of County Health and reconvene as the Board of County Commission. All in favor?
Yeah, Brittany Phillips, yeah, should give on the 2025 rural fire budget.
Question, revenue neutral rate, because AJ says he's gonna answer. Is there some adjustment for inflation or population, or is it strictly last year's total versus this year's total? It looked like there was some kind of adjustment.
There is an adjustment, and what is that based on? Do you remember? We'll get that to you. There is an
Yeah, I
adjustment.
thought there was some kind of an adjustment, but I didn't remember what was. I don't think it was inflation, but I think there was. or something. That's the question they're gonna be asking me in the morning, so if you could.
Okay, yeah,
Hey, man,
Yeah,
tomorrow.
just to confirm, what's the exact question? I didn't hear a little bit, I'm sorry.
what revenue neutral rate, I think it gets adjusted from year, it isn't exactly the same hard number from one to the next, isn't it?
Right.
There's some adjustment. What is that adjustment?
Okay,
I probably knew it one time, but.
New
Well, that's
construction, the cheap that happens in that same year gets tacked back on the next year, like,
Yeah, that's, I think it was, it's new.
and if like a TIF or a special district or something comes off, that would get re-added the following year.
Yeah.
And there's a few of them, yeah.
we'll get that to you.
Okay, yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Like I say, just want, he had a whole list of questions, I'm just trying to get ready.
Okay.
Did you meet with Brandon last time or? Did you say-
AJ, but I had Rich with me, so we already had a agenda.
Yeah.
Kind of put together, I guess.
Listen to him.
Mostly elections, but
Yeah,
we
but
talked,
mostly
yeah,
elections.
we talked about a whole bunch of other stuff.
Another good one, talked about the facility, of course.
Yeah, that's that's on his list, yeah.
Mailed David to see if he had any updates
Yeah.
on that too.
And he said, what's the vice chair do? If you're not here, that's not a meeting, other than that, that's the only.
Really, that's all I really do is just run the meeting. That's about-
Sign your papers.
Yeah, lots of paperwork, yeah.
And carry the lion's share of the blame.
Yeah.
Question you can do, it's out, chairman's one.
Yeah, blame it on me.
Jump the rails, I don't know. They tried to stop them.
Hmm.
I was like, Dion's doing his best to get college football fired up.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep himself on the front page.
I always forget he's out there as a coach.
How can you forget?
Yeah.
He won't let anyone.
Yeah.
forget it.
I saw him play minor league baseball for a little bit.
Really?
Yeah,
There's no doubt, guys, not
down in Wichita.
there's no doubt about that. He was one of those athletes I never wanted to like or even respect, but after you watched him, it's just like, God, he was real.
Yeah.
It's a defensive back. Problem is, he had the attitude with him.
Yeah.
He was really good.
It's kind of like watching
Side, but
Bo Jackson.
Oh, Jackson didn't have the attitude. I still
yeah,
think
he
he did.
did have the attitude.
I still think over pound for pound, he was a better athlete.
Saw him hit at least one home run with a broken bat.
Mhm.
I think he did that more than once.
Yeah, he did.
Ran up the wall.
Yeah,
That's-
literally scaled the entire outfield wall. Came back down, didn't skip a beat. And that throw he made, the throw out held with the at home plate on one hop.
His injury was such a tragedy.
Yeah.
That was good.
He didn't even know he injured himself. That was the worst part of it. Okay, Brittany.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brittany Phillips, Budget and Finance Officer, here to discuss the rural fire budget. I did make sure my graphs look correct this time. That's helpful. But beyond that, nothing else has changed. I still have the year-to-date information on here. That's through the end of June. and stand for any questions that you may have. Or suggestions.
Now, when is the public hearing scheduled?
It's August 22nd,
Okay,
9:45. Sorry, it's 9:50. August 22nd at 9:50, not 9:50.
9:15. Okay. And that's been published.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm still where I'm at. It needs to come down to 8%. Be fair with everybody else. You know, we'll have to work on some other things later, the other fire
Everybody else has to
station,
pay for their own buildings.
you know.
There are two things. Say they don't have to pay for their buildings. And also they buy all their equipment, vehicles through CIP, which. Which is that's the two big things they're looking for.
And they save money, by doing a lot of the, you know, contracting out for the, the fire stations, you know, which is really, that save quite a bit of money. You know what the actual amount savings is, but it's gotta be more than the 8% gas. They've done really, really well in saving money for the county.
What was it? To take it to 8%, what was that?
I believe it was $50,000. You drop it down. It would, the other capital outlay was this one suggestion that I heard last week, and it would drop it down to 75,000. And it got it. I went and played with it, and it got it down right to 8%.
Said, I'm not sure we need to cut it there. A lot of expenses, but there's a lot of equipment's. Like everybody else, expensive.
Yeah, and, I don't think we need to cut it down.
I think everybody else then can make the same excuse. Why cut ours to 8 and not everybody's?
Like I said, how many other departments buy their own buildings and equipment?
I understand that. But you know, we talked about maybe using some of our own funds to build the building,
Yeah.
which would take it down quite
If
considerably.
we could.
And I mentioned too, I'm not necessarily against every now and again having to use CIP to buy a truck or whatever we needed to do. I won't make it policy to do that, but if we needed to do that once every couple of years or something to balance it out, that would be fine.
Well, this, this department is different than the other departments because it has its own taxing. So they're not the same. I don't think we can compare apples there.
I think everybody else can then say the same thing. Why not us at 14%? We had several departments that we asked to do that. And they're still part of the county.
You know, down to, if we, like I said, it's the building, one of the things is the building, so if we can. But I don't know if we can guarantee that we will pay for that building. I can see cutting it. But I don't know, we can guarantee. Nothing's guaranteed.
I think I asked this question already. What was the percentage of increase last year? I know you ended up having to stay at revenue neutral, but
No, they were over revenue neutral last year too.
they were.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm thinking it was 7% or something like.
I'd agree to reducing it 50,000 if you're gonna. Commit to think that at the building,
If what?
if we're gonna commit. And I know we can't make that part of the motion. I
Yeah.
think that if we pay either out of ARPA or CIP for the other building they're trying to build. We need to build. That
Well,
existing one's not much of a building.
Well, I mean, if you used, for instance, federal funds to do that, I mean, it kind of falls in line. So if the scope of using that for
Yeah,
infrastructural services
yeah,
that have
planning.
greater common good for a long, for longevity. So I wouldn't have a problem with that.
Okay. And we need a motion to approve or disapprove or. what
I
we're
just-
supposed
I
to
wanna
do.
make
Yeah, remember, Commissioner, the only reason we brought it back is when we went through the end of the budget process, so I think this Commissioner McKinley that kind of raised the question. Maybe we need to look at that because it was high, and so that's why we brought it back just for your discussion, but. I mean, there's lots of things, and Russell and Doug want you guys to have equipment, but I mean. Commissioners, the 1,017,000 less personnel. Is $500,000 more than they actually spent in 2023. They spent 517,000. No, they had 516,000 left, so that's $500,000 more. And so, that's why I asked earlier before if Russell had a plan for your buildings and equipment, and he said they're expensive, I agree, but just is there a plan? And we want them to have money. We want them to
Absolutely.
operate. So it was because the commissioners asked to bring it here is why we're here, and if you wanna leave it, you guys don't need to do anything. But if you wanna change it, that's the only thing you dictate a motion, if you wanna leave it, it's already there. That's where it's set right now.
Even at 8%, that still goes over revenue neutral, so we're not
Yeah.
getting under that, and that's totally
Yes,
understandable.
it doesn't happen, yeah.
The only act that needs to be taken is if you wanna change anything. Because it's published as is.
Yeah, we can't see changing at this point.
Well, the statute allows all budgets to be reduced up until the hearing date, that's by state law. Cannot go up.
Even
but they
after
can
that, you can
reduce.
reduce them before, what was the final? Because can't you reduce it out even after the revenue rate, you can still reduce it up until.
Because you have to have the public hearing for the actual
No,
budget.
it's actually, the budget's set and the tax statements are set based on that, based on that hearing date.
Oh, because we had the budget hearing right after that, so that's when,
Correct.
yeah. Okay, so there's any.
Now, I mean, internally, you can reduce it, but people are gonna get billed for that and say, we're
Yeah,
not gonna let you
right.
expend. Commissioner
Right.
does have that authority, but not to formally. Right,
So we have to approve everything that's, that's bought. Everything, every expenditure anyway. So,
yeah, so no action, only action needs to be taken if there's any change made.
Well, I guess the one way to look at it, I mean, if we change it, we're basically just transferring funds around to get the same
Yeah,
thing done.
yeah,
I mean,
that's
it's
true.
not. But we do need to look at a way to start kind of getting it down year by year.
I mean, yeah, it is the taxpayers that are
Yeah.
paying it.
Yeah.
Right.
A good portion of them, but even if you don't reduce it, I still think your piece of equipment or facility, if we think we may have potential ARPA money left, we need to identify those as one of the things, the other
Yeah.
things.
And always
Whether
know-
this is reduced or not, because we want to use all that funding.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, Commissioner Ford, as far as reducing it in the future, I mean, the only way to realistically do that is close fire stations or. I mean, we're already using volunteers, 130 volunteers and. Unless tires and fuel and trucks get cheaper. I don't see how we're already running with volunteers. The new fire station we just built, we didn't even put a bathroom. It's 4 walls and a heater. No air conditioner. No, nothing like that, we're not doing anything frivolous. We buy you, for the most part, what we're looking at is used trucks, the spreadsheet I provided you
Yeah.
that shows the trucks we have and the ages of them.
And they do need to be replaced. And Rich is right, we want to make sure that you have the
Like we
appropriate
talked,
equipment.
a lot of those are 50-year-old trucks and they aren't making parts for them anymore. It's gonna be park them in the hedgerow. Scavenge one to keep it up that. It's gonna be scavenge one to keep the other one running until there are no parts left to take off of it. We have, I think, 4 broken down trucks in the shop, or they need to go in the shop right now, so. As far as, when things keep going up. If we want to keep the same amount of trucks on the road, we're not asking to expand anything. All we're doing is trying to maintain. Just to put gear on a firefighter now, it's $4,000 to $5,000. Just buying coats, pants, helmet, boots, gloves. So, I mean. The only way for us to cut is to close fire stations that I can see. We're not paying, we're paying wages for 3.5 people, to cover 17,000 and manage 130 volunteers. The commission wants to reduce it 50,000, but commit to paying for the fire station, and obviously we're money ahead of the place, so. Whatever the commission thinks best is what we're gonna do. And as far as the money that hasn't been spent, is because we've been trying to save money. Because we knew we had $500,000 worth of fire stations to pay for out of cash. And so we can't pay for that without saving money, and we can't save $500,000 in 1 year. So that has to be over multiple years.
You've done a good job of keeping costs down, and I think we all appreciate that.
As far as maintenance, Doug turns a lot of the wrenches himself.
Yeah.
And then stuff he can't fix, it goes to the county shop, and if it's something beyond them, or if they're too busy or something specialized, then it goes to the appropriate, Freightliner, Cat, Chevy, Ford, whatever, but we do a large percentage of the work in-house.
Do you have like a maintenance schedule or CFP schedule for your vehicle?
We have a spreadsheet that we have them identified as what needs replaced the most and which ones are military. But we can't really make a schedule because we don't know what the money is. And so like when we look at a truck, once we had, for example, so our plan is when these fire stations are built, which right now we're assuming we have to pay for it, which will be pretty much wipe out our capital outlay fund or CIP fund. So we're not even really seriously looking at trucks right now, because we just aren't gonna have the money to do it. But we have our list of trucks, and we're probably gonna be looking at used trucks, not new ones. And so it'll be a matching game of, well, here's our top 5 trucks that need replaced. We'd like to replace number 1 first, but if there's not a used one on the market, but we go down and we find, oh, number 5, this one matches number 5, we might replace number 5 truck. So it's hard to schedule that. You know, we have them identified, what needs to be replaced, but it's not like we're gonna go buy new ones, we're gonna buy this one off the shelf. So.
Sure, you know, I get that.
Yeah, this
Kind of,
such an essential service. I mean, you know, when the fires come, we call the fire department and, you know, they do a lot of work and they need the equipment and the facilities to work with.
go ahead.
Yeah, Russell, would you be open to working with Brittany and I think commissioners, because they do have such a large amount of facilities and equipment, to kind of working on developing your own CIP program to where we kind of identify policy wise, this would be nice for you guys to have in reserve for equipment rather than just guessing and saying it's expensive. And so we know this truck might be out, so then annually we could budget some to transfer in, just like we do CIP.
We do that now. We have a budgeted transfer into capital outlay.
Yeah, I know, but do you have projects that it's identified to? I asked you that at the last meeting, and you just said everything's expensive.
Fire stations right now. And that's gonna be fun. We have the identified trucks. in order.
Hence why a plan with a policy on how much you want in a CIP to replace facilities, replace equipment. That
Our
commissioners are aware of.
Yeah.
That budget and finance is aware of.
Yeah, we provided that. The spreadsheet, we just.
That was just trucks. That was just equipment. Okay.
I mean, it's trucks and fire stations. The fire stations will be done after this year. One way or the other. I mean, it's still paying on the debt on the other fire station.
Gone over for paying off those other stations, which I know several of them are newer. Are there some going to be paid off soon? I don't remember how long that.
Not the fire stations, there's a radio, a loan on some radios and a loan on some SCBA's, self-contained breathing apparatus. Those will be done in the next less than 10 years. I don't think there's one, 4, 5.
I think one's next year.
One might be next year, so
One's that next year.
that'll be roughly a $30,000 payment, I think it is, so that'll go with it. And so then that'll give us some breathing room.
Yeah,
As far as,
but the stations, how many were those 20-year or what do you?
one of them, I think, was on an original 40-year note. And it's only 5 years into that.
Yeah, I would say-
So I mean, it's got 35 years roughly to pay. And I don't have that schedule with me, but
Yeah.
then that, so there's the Ogden and Leonardville are on one up together. And then the Tuttle Cove station, it's on its own.
I don't remember if there were any other old. Thought there were some older ones, but what the older ones weren't stations, they were the radio like.
Correct.
Big stuff.
You have that complete list of other equipment.
Well, I don't have their like CIP one. I have their debt, but no,
Right,
I don't
But
have, I
not
don't
the
have a
CIP
copy of the
equipment
CIP.
that I was talking about.
Cause you gave them us a list of all.
I gave you guys the list.
Actually gave us that. Maybe this one's an updated list, but we got one
Right.
last year too,
Right.
in terms of equipment, but
You know, yearly updates and
But
annual updates. every-
trucks aren't the only thing that are
Mhm.
CIP needed. That's what. Yeah. It really does sound like at some point in time, we almost need to use our own CIP to buy a truck or two, just to,
Well, that's, I mean, if you've, it is a separate tax
Yeah.
district, so why not set up their reserve fund just like it? It is public money. So budget and finance needs to be aware of all those intricacies of expensive expenditures, because it is the taxpayer's responsibility, the county commissioner's responsibility, not one department or one department heads. So the public needs to be aware of all those expenditures when we're talking about these things. Just like the policy says, anything with a fiscal note that's county related, budget and finance should be aware of. That way she can advise commissioners, yes, we have the money, no, we don't. Here's how we can help get the money.
Right. That's the key there.
Just because it's a separate district doesn't mean it's treated any different than any other department or the county as a whole.
So we currently have Fund 183, which is our operating fund, 184, which is the capital outlay of our CIP fund. And then 185 is the building. And so we've budgeted spending authority at 185, but we didn't
180.
collect out
Revenue.
tax for that, so that we had the fund, if we did elect to borrow money or would get a grant, the fund and taxing authority, spending authority, not taxing, spending authority for there. And then we've had Fund 184 for the whole time I've been here, which is our capital outlay or CIP fund. And then 183 is our operating fund. And so we budgeted every year I've been here, money in 183 out of our operating to put into capital outlay. So like this year, it's 4990 there, we budgeted 60,000 or
This
Or-
is transfer.
or the term, yeah,
Where is that at on the sheet? 183.
right there on this.
Well, so fund one, he's saying this is fund 183, that's the fund number, is rural fire. Operating fund, that's just how we identify it on our.
Okay,
Yeah.
on the county,
Mhm.
not theirs. Okay.
Yeah. And then fund 184 is his capital outlay, and 185 is fire station projects.
And so every year I've been here, we budgeted to transfer money into capital outlay. And then we scrimp and save on our 3Cs and anything we, obviously, we don't know how big a fire year we're gonna have, and some years we have huge fire years and. We aren't gonna have any of the 3Cs left, and then other years are slower, and those slow years. We watch our pennies, and then every penny that's left over gets transferred into capital outlay. And those are our, other than grants, that's our only funding source to historically. To put money into our capital outlay, which is our CIP fund. And we've saved up to where we're upwards of 600,000. We just spent 250, 245 on the fire station at Ashland, so that's basically cut in half. And then the University Park, unless there's funding that comes from elsewhere, is gonna take the majority of the rest of that. And so that's why we haven't been shopping, if you will, we're probably shopping, but shopping seriously for replacement trucks right now, because we know where funds are. But if the commission, is able to find some additional funding, to pay for the University Park Fire Station, for example. That would let us basically start shopping for fire trucks to replace the priority ones on our list now. Otherwise, we have to wait until the fire station's done, we know our final bill, and we know how many dollars we have left, if any. To go shopping for used fire trucks, and then seeing what is on the market available that fits our needs. Whether it's, our top priority truck that needs replaced or fifth one on the list.
Yeah.
We just don't know until we get serious about shopping, but until the fire stations and none of that funding is all set, we can't be serious about going shopping.
Can you remind me of the cost of University Park?
That's what I was gonna ask.
Estimated about 2. That's another question is, whether we go to the same contractor and have them update the prices, or if the commission wants us to go through the full bid process again, that's gonna be up to the commission. So we won't, have a hard number on that until then, but the estimated number is 250.
Did the current contractor give you an estimate on what he thought prices would be? Based on this
He-
last one?
He thought the building itself might be about 5% of the building package.
Yeah.
As far as the concrete and other stuff. He said when we're ready for him to update the prices, he will, but they're good for 30 days, so he just assumed until we're really ready. And the planning meeting, I think, is September 9th to get final approval for building permit, basically. So we can't start, we can, whenever the commission is ready, we could go ahead and ask him to get those prices. But if the commit, we don't want him to do that if the commission says, oh, we're gonna bid it, because then his prices are already advertised, basically. The commission, how they would do that when we're ready to do that.
So it would be like 5% plus the concrete work, which.
Well, he said the last, he talked to the building supplier, so the welding company that basically makes the frame and sells the metal, all the metal that they put together, like a director said, the building package. So I don't remember either what the building package was last time, 60 or 70,000, or I think the building itself that, they roll in and unload and I put up was, I think around 60 or 70,000, so 5% on that, a few $1,000s. He said, since we're doing the exact same building, there's $1,000 drawing fee or something that won't be there. I mean, there's little bits and pieces, but overall, I hope that it shouldn't be much more than what the actual. The only difference up there is we have the water and sewer available, and so we will actually put a bathroom in this.
Well, if you didn't get the increase you're asking for and you have to cut services, that would be like eliminating a fire station. Where would that be?
Currently Hunter's Island is the station where when we have a broken down truck, we go get a truck from and take it from, because it's the closest to the city of Manhattan for help, and it's surrounded by other stations. And so it's the one where we kind of keep our, when it's not being used as a reserve pumper, it's our frontline pumper for the Hunter's Island area. But when a pumper in another area breaks down, we go get that one. We do have one light grass truck that's reserved, and one heavy brush truck, like a military 6x6 that we tag as a reserve truck, but we don't have a reserve tender and we don't have a reserve pumper.
So Hunter Island would, if big fire breaks out over there, or big certain, and the truck's been used elsewhere, then it could. Like, that's the problem.
Trucks from Manhattan and the Kansas station by the old piano store, and Ogden, of course, and Keats and 112 go that direction, but
yeah.
And that's one reason why we picked that station. Is one of the lower call volume stations, and then it's surrounded by a lot of other stations where the other stations are out on the outskirts, and people can only come from one direction to help them versus this one's kind of surrounded.
Yeah.
And keep it where it is, we don't do anything, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Correct.
I'd like to do that.
Okay.
I think we need to seriously give a thought about using some of the federal funds just to get that station built,
Yeah.
regardless of anything else.
Right.
Yeah. Because it's not gonna be ad valorem, so we don't have to make the argument that, the whole city's paying. We have to go through all that, but it sounds like to me moving forward that would be very advantageous, because it can't have this large of an increase every year. I'm sorry. So, but
I don't disagree.
no, fine, but
Just doing what I'm told.
So I'm for leaving it as is, and then try to do see where we can go with some federal funds for the new station.
Yeah, great.
Probably need to start working on a plan for that.
Yeah, we're still waiting on a couple final numbers on ARPA, and responses from Widow O'Brien's. I haven't heard anything back yet, but we do have a call with them tomorrow, so I'll just talk with her tomorrow when we do that, and then I'll bring everything back. That's my plan.
Been working on it for a while.
I'm sure you have
As clear a picture as possible and
Yeah.
bring it to you, like I say, and then put that project on the shelf in case we have any money left over, because we have to have all things, and we'll have to have an agreement in place by the end of the year, which I think will be easy enough to get the paperwork, because as Commissioner McKinley said, we don't even want to send $10 back, so.
Correct.
So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make sure all our ducks are in a row for.
Then you'll have a clearer picture. Well, of course, a big thing it's gonna be dependent on is at what level you're going to spend on the new renovation facility up there too, is gonna have a direct, I mean, that really is the one that's gonna have the most direct impact on
Right now.
if there's any monies left over. But one way or the other, you'll get it. Maybe just might not help you with the new fire station.
And then does the commission have any direction on what they think they want to do as far as the University Park Station? You know, that's right there. If we want the contractor to update his quotes, or if we want to go out for full bids.
We're using the same plan and the same equipment, everything's the same, so I don't know why we would have to go out to
Yeah, I
bid.
think you can just negotiate with them.
Okay.
Get some new numbers and see where we're at, and we'll figure out a way to plug it in.
Next questions? Did you have any other questions for me?
No,
I got a question after the meeting, something else. Hang out for a minute.
Okay.
Anything else for me, commissioners?
you get that station wagon sold yet?
Where is that on this chart?
Yeah, I wanna see a list, I wanna see a plan.
You put a real water tank on a station. wagon?
Yeah, hey, we got a station wagon for you guys. Might have to get creative, but you know,
Special response.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just have other departments make fun of you.
Yeah, that's why I don't want it. I don't want that thing. I think it'd be great for the PIO to get access to the seat.
Yeah, it
press
has
conference
great
out of the
air
front.
conditioning. Great, better than my car. Yeah, makes me so mad.
Yeah, real free on back then,
Yeah.
Try to refill it.
real free.
Okay.
I opened up the gates there, didn't I? Okay, well, that's the last item I have today. Let's get out of here quick.
Another argument on my list.
So I would make a motion to adjourn the meeting of the Board of Raleigh County Commissioners from today's meeting, August 12th, 2024.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to adjourn the August 12th meeting of